Hi, my name is Sandy, and I'm an alcoholic and an addict.
Hey, Sandy.
Good morning, everybody. So first, before I get into everything, I really wasn't expecting to speak this morning because I was expecting a phone call, but due to being alcoholic, it got mixed up, and that's okay because my God needs me to speak, and so that's what I'm going to do. So I do qualify to speak at this meeting. I've been guided through these steps with the help of the Big Book Step Study sponsor, a loving higher power, many meetings like this, and people like you. And I've started my amends, and I try to work all the steps in my life on a daily basis. So, I also just spoke on Wednesday, so some of you are getting the tour, which I am a little nervous, so I'm just going to put that right out there. So, this is really what I need to hear because, part of me didn't even, wanted to sleep late and, no, you gotta get out of yourself and your selfishness and you gotta help others. And so that's what I'm going to do. So I'll just briefly qualify. I have always been uncomfortable my whole life. I didn't really know why until I came into this program and started doing some work and some really in-depth work and look at myself to see why I felt like that. But I was really unhappy with everything. And I was definitely alcoholic long before I put anything into my system. I was irritable, restless, and discontent, and always, never happy with anything, and looking for something to make me feel better. A quick example of that is at one point I had 5 cats, a dog, and 6 reptiles. So yeah, you can see where the craziness comes in. And, but they're unconditional love, and that's what I was looking for, but of course, there were only temporary fixes. And until I came in here and started doing the work, I really didn't understand why I was so unhappy, or I couldn't stay with something for very long. I always, a couple weeks or a month, I was always looking on to the next thing. Something was always better than what I had. And definitely whatever you had, I wanted. So I really love this part of our reading. A lot of our meetings have how it works to open their meetings, and I love it because it just sums up that, half measures avail us nothing. And, for a good portion of my sobriety, I did give it half measures. I didn't write consistently. Everything I did go to meetings. But, I would turn over, I thought all my will, but I wasn't. I was holding on to some things, and because I could do them better than my higher power. And, he was okay to fix certain things, and I was okay with that. I gave him up freely. You take that, and I'll take these things. But, one, I can't control people, places, and things, and, I learned that here. That's a very hard lesson for me, who likes to control people. I am totally that actor. I will control everything and every situation, especially when it's not my business, and especially when it's your life. I will be more than happy to tell you that you're not living your life right, that I know everything, and I'm perfect. So I thought pretty much, I had good, delusional standards that I thought I was perfect, but anyway, so I just, when I came in here and I started to realize that, everything my whole life was based on is fear. I wanted to please everybody, so I wanted you to like me. I wanted you to think I was smart. I wanted you to think that I was whatever. I would lie and say the stupidest things, like, do you like eating that? No, yeah, I do, when I don't like it. What is the harm in telling someone, no, I don't like that? But I was afraid of what you'd think. I was afraid that I'd hurt your feelings. I pretended to be everything. I was a chameleon that way, and I lived that way for a long time. It took me a long time to figure out who I am. I still am, and it's nice. And it's only because of this program that I've been able to do that. I know I'm kind of all over the place here, but step 3 is made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. So that's it right there in italic. I love that they put italics on things that are really emphasized, which there's a lot of things that are emphasized in this book. I am a former Catholic, I guess you'd say. I had Catholicism kind of stuffed down my throat my whole life, and I rebelled against it. And right about when I, really turned my back on my higher power, that's when I really started to stunt my growth. And because when I started to get sober and to look at myself, I realized that I was kind of that teenager, and that's right around when I started to turn my back. And not against religion per se, but we didn't have this spirituality stuff. I mean, this is wonderful. This God, as I understand Him, what exactly does that mean? Well, I wasn't sure. I basically, when I took the 3rd step prayer with my sponsor, I took it because I was desperate and wanted to do whatever I had to do to get started. I didn't know if I really meant it at the time. And she was okay with that. She said, you just have to be willing, and you need to be ready to do the next things. And, she's such an amazing person, and so spiritual, and I love that about her. And anyway, so the wonderful thing is that I didn't have to have everything figured out, and I still don't. I don't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, I call myself perfectly imperfect, and I'm okay with that. I like that. And for this relationship to work, I have to actually be honest, and I have to, work on it on a daily basis. I can't just say, this is what I want, and then go off on my day, and then, at the end say, okay, thanks, it's good talking to you. I actually have to have that higher power with me all day in my thoughts and in my heart and in my actions. And it's just this growing, evolving thing. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful, that I didn't have to have, aside from saying that prayer, that's all I had to have. I just had to have the willingness to move forward. And my relationship grew as I started to discover things, which we'll get into those wonderful steps next week, but and the following weeks. But I never realized that I was selfish, self-seeking, self-centered, fearful. Like I said, my whole life was fear. I didn't know it, and I had those behaviors. And when I first started to write, the resentments came really easy because it turns out I was pretty angry. I know you find that hard to believe. But, as far back as I can remember, there were things that shaped my thoughts and my fears and, how I reacted to things and how I protected myself. I didn't ever know how to be like a friend, like I do in the program today, or a daughter or a mother. And I'm learning those things through honesty, rigorous honesty on a day-to-day basis. And, I have a lot of work to do. And, I just started the amends process, and, I'm not going to get into that. That's for another day. But, there's where more growth and healing will happen. And I look forward to that. But, there were a lot of things and people and that were hurt in the process. My 2 kids were, in the crossfire, and I have to accept that. I have to accept where they both are, and I have to accept that, you know, right now one of them doesn't want to talk to me, doesn't want to have anything to do with me. And I have to know that, you know, when God's ready, these things will fall into place. And I'm okay with that today because I have that understanding of, you know, I'm going to be okay no matter what. You know, I still have crap going on in my life. That's life. You know, I've got a sick mother. You know, I've got issues with my kids, like I said. You know, I've got work stuff. Everybody has that stuff. You know, most of us do. We wouldn't be human if we didn't. But the difference is how I react to it and how I can be there. And that's solely with the help of my higher power. You know, I used to do things because it made me look good. You know, made me look like a good daughter if I was there helping my mom. But, you know, I was never sober. You know, now I'm there, and I'm there because I want to be. I'm there because I love this woman, and I look forward to being there for her. You know, and she doesn't talk very much, so, you know, it's a very one-sided conversation. But that's okay, because I have no problem talking. And, you know, I just, I can do those things today, you know, and not worry, you know, that I can't do it unless I'm drunk. You know, I have some stuff that's been going on in my life. We had kind of a tough Easter with my mom, and, you know, it's hard. And, you know, I started getting in my head, and I like to emphasize I started to, you know, start thinking about, you know, the future, and, you know, and just, you know, what are we going to do? And, you know, thank God I have this program. I have friends. I have a sponsor. I talked to my sponsor. And, you know, it was like 4 consecutive things, and by the 4th thing, I was crying at a meeting. I walked out of a meeting because it wasn't a good meeting, you know, and I'm like, you know, it's no wonder I go to 3 big book meetings a week, because there's a solution here. And, you know, I love open AA, but sometimes, you know, they can just be a stitch and bitch, and I didn't need that day. And stitch and bitch. That means talk about the problem instead of the solution. But I love all AA meetings, and I love the fellowship. You know, a lot of my friends are in those meetings, and you know, I wouldn't have that foundation if I didn't have those. But, you know, this is where I found the healing and the way to actually face my problems and to deal with my problems. So I talked to my sponsor. Best thing I did. You know, she reminded me, hey, why don't you start your day over? You know, why don't you just say some prayers? And, you know, and I had been praying, but that was it. So with one of the situations, I did a 10th step. You know, I talked to people, and, you know, after I started my day over, guess what? I was back. I was gone, and God was back. Let's just put it that way. You know, and that's what I have to do, and that's what I have to remember, is that, you know, I need to come to these programs, I need to come to these meetings, because I need to hear the solution. I need to hear how people are dealing with stuff in their life. And, you know, it's not just about putting down the drink. I need to hear about, you know, making sure that I don't say something that's going to hurt someone's feelings, or, you know, tell you, you know, what I think you should do because I know best. And, you know, that's just bull. That's garbage. I don't know best. You know, everything I say my higher power comes through me. I did pray this morning, you know, before I talked on the car ride here. We had a good conversation. And I just, you know, I hope that, you know, for those that are checking it out, that you do it. It is so worth it doing this process. I did do it a little bit longer than I would recommend, and that just prolonged my suffering, because, and the people around me, of course, because, you know, the ones that suffer the most are the ones that are closest to me. And, but, you know, it's a new life today. It's a new way of looking at things. It's a new way of reacting and responding. And that's only because I've discovered my high power to the best of my ability and to the best of my understanding. And that's something personal to me. It doesn't have to be the same for everybody. That's the wonderful thing, is it can be just, you know, yours is yours and mine is mine, and we're all okay with that. So I think that's probably good. I'm not sure how long I've been talking, but anyway, thank you for letting me share.